Continuing on from last conversation, Dan Simmons, Hyperion Cantos. Again, it was the same channel where I found the ideas for Cixin Liu. Andrew Hunter Murray. For those of you who don't know, he's the guy who writes the questions for QI. I wanted to read this for a while, but haven't yet done anything about it. Divergence. Again, young adult novel. Really like the premise, excuse me. Tiger, a children's book, which I've always wanted to write a children's book myself, but never really had an idea for a premise, or a good premise for that matter. Artemis, again by the same bloke who wrote The Martian. Want to read this. V for Vendetta. Now, I've heard this is really good, a really good dystopian. It reminded me of 1980 for the premise of a totalitarian regime. I've heard that he is a really good, comic book writer. And I'm not really a great fan of comic books myself. I'm not really a great fan of, superhero type works, to be honest. The Renegades. Now, I'm a superhero writer myself. I've, written the Green Girl series, as for all of those who know me, which is my first book series. That I haven't read, but I'm intending to read it. Martian Chronicles, Ray Bradbury. I love Ray Bradbury. I read this as a young, teenager. Really enjoyed it. I really wanted to give it a bash as an adult. Again, another Neil Gaiman book. Say whatever you will about Neil Gaiman, but I think, he's talented. Annihilation, the 2 books in the series. I know that it's a trilogy, but I haven't got my hands on the 3rd book yet. Again, I like the premise, dark, almost Lovecraftian science fiction. I like the premise, I like the idea of it, Halo books, Divine Wind and Outcasts. I'm a big fan of Halo, and I loved the games when I was younger. Not so much as an adult, because as an adult I haven't really played on anything for a while, and which is not saying a lot, really. Neuromancer. I've always wanted to read this because I'm quite into cyberpunk. The Handmaid's Tale. Margaret Atwood. A friend actually recommended this. I'm into a lot of dystopian type science fiction novels, and I love the idea of dystopian futures. Dune. Recently watched the first and the second films. would love to read, got me really interested in reading the books. I know as they get on, they get progressively weird. Sandman, the first 3 volumes of the Sandman, I know that, again, it's a controversial topic, but I do like Neil Gaiman. Darkest Minds series books, again, big science for dystopian. To Sleep in a Field of Stars and Fractured Noise. Again, like the sound of these and, want to read them as much as, if possible. And this one, God Kill It and Sunbringer, I'm into fantasy as well as science fiction, and I'm interested, I'm interested in almost reading about anything, if I can, if I'm honest. I'm the sort of person who will, if tempted, will read about anything in terms of fiction. I have mixed tastes, I admit that, but, I think tastes always change, and tastes are always evolving with people. You don't always have to like the same thing as people, personally. That's just me personally speaking. I think the more you read, the more better you are at understanding language and structure of a story. I mean, I'm always reading articles online. I'm always reading, not just about art. I'm also reading. I like reading the newspaper. I like keeping up to date with local news, politics, as well as anything else. It's good to read. It's good to, keep yourself informed about what's happening in the world, as well as locally. The issue in today's society is, this is something that saddens me, but a lot of people, children especially, don't like reading, don't like picking up a book. I've always read, I've always kept myself informed ever since I was young. One of the first books that I read as a child growing up was the Harry Potter series. I know that it's a point of contention at the moment about Rowling and her beliefs. And again, like Neil Gaiman, she has become a figure of hate in a way due to her beliefs on transgender and trans people. For me, it's just an opinion, though, personally. And one that she's entitled to, personally. But, I won't get involved in politics because it never fares good with people, personally. That's just my personal opinion about it all. But books and their authors have become a point of contention for people, a point of interest. And I'm hoping that mine do, to be honest, The Green Girl. Anyway, I look forward to hearing back from you all, and please, as always, like, subscribe, and comment on my work. Thank you.